Hello, everyone. All right. Well, as you can see, again, there's two people missing to the group. Um, our monk said he is going to be a small delay, as he is having trouble getting back to his camera. Unfortunately, our druid has a blackout where she is, so it all depends on if the light comes back on. If it does, she will be back with us. If not, well, we send her all our best thoughts. It's all we can do. Alright, and for anyone who'd be watching, welcome to Dragon Memoria. For those joining us for the first time, greeting. For those coming back, welcome back. It is a pleasure to have you all with us. And for those who might be wondering what is this, probably because you didn't read the title just under the window, it's about people playing Dungeons & Dragons. If you missed an episode or part of an episode, you can always catch up with YouTube and Patreon, where I post the old episodes. And on Patreon, you will also find bits of lore and rule change, since this is a homebrewed campaign and world. And if you want to support us, as always, it is always very appreciated with follows on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, follows, like, and spreading the good word about this channel, about the wonderful adventures that you are listening into. And if you want to support us financially, you have links for donation and, of course, again, Patreon. Because we all like Dungeons & Dragons, and we'd like this channel to last a long time, and the best way to make sure that happens is to find a way to give me a salary, directly or indirectly. Because I need to eat, apparently. I tried going without it. It doesn't go well for very long. Alright, so nothing else to say, unless any one of you wants to say something. This is about everything that I had to say. So, do we have confirmation about the volume? Audio?
Yeah, I checked. Yeah, we're all working.
I am a little bit paranoid with it, but I'd rather be paranoid than have an entire episode with only me talking again. Alright, so last episode, the party finally managed to finish everything about the Tournay Woods. They solved the problem, went back into town, had a good amount of festivities, mostly for our paladin, who is the one in the best of shape in the group. And then they all went on their way to their summons to the garden. They quickly traveled through the Tournay Woods and onward toward the trading town of Forgem, where Tobiyashi, the monk, decided to treat the party to a private celebration. And again, after merriment, alcohol, and a bit of preaching to the dragons, the party went to sleep, woke up. Yeah, I figured you'd be the kind to try and preach to the dragons while you're celebrating in a very busy inn, so So, when the morning came, the consensus was reached that you need to reach the garden fast, as you are close to 7 or 8 days away from the garden and only have 14 days to get there. So the group split into two groups, Tobiyashi and Trevor, to find some supplies, have a few questions answered, and Audience and Valtteri to go find transportation. since the last half of the episode was with Tobiyashi and Trevor, we're gonna start with audience, who just left the inn, still very pleased with his evening of merriment, worship, and spreading the news about the accomplishment of the group, has just set out to find transportation. And the last explanation that he has was to find either horse with a cart, or a horse with a wagon, whatever was the most affordable and could be maintained all the way till the garden. You can improvise as long as it can get everyone there and it doesn't cost too much.
Alright.
And so, audience, you leave the inn with Valtteri, who seems to be slightly distracted right now.
Okay. I would probably try and find a nearby guard.
You watching?
Ask him where.
I don't remember if you were. No, you weren't. You weren't there for the whole episode. Okay. So this is a trading town. It's a bit larger. To be quick with the description, I imagine you've played with Diablo 3.
Yes.
Forgem is a town, so imagine something roughly similar to the town of Tristram, but a bit less gothic. It's about the same size. You have maybe 2 or 3 streets, have a good variety of merchants, and it is a commercial town. So there are also caravans coming in and out of the town, and you have heard also rumor about a caravan of Sherouns on the other side of town, who are most likely going to leave during the day.
Well, then I would probably just look around. If I passed any friendly-looking people, I'd probably ask if they knew where I might be able to buy transportation. If they could point me in that direction.
All right. Then I'd have you. All right. So you're asking around. So I'll have you make a investigation roll, not to determine if you find something, but to determine how long it takes you to find something.
Okay. Oh, my character, stop.
So I have it here. Investigation, you have a -1.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Alright. 16.
16, that's good. So you find someone rather quickly. It's a woman, probably a woman living in town, because she seems to be very knowledgeable of what you can find. And sorry for my voice, I have a bit of a cold, so trying to do a woman's voice, talking from your nose when you have a cold, it's really interesting. So she's, yes, of course. If you just keep going a little bit further, you will find someone who rent horses. She and her husband, I mostly know her because we often trade. Sorry. We often trade, but yes, they sell horse. They have a few right now because of the few caravans that have been coming in recently. There's quite a lot of merchandise. Otherwise, you could always see one of the traveling caravans. Sometime when they offload, they need less horse, and they are willing to sell their horse for maybe a little bit less than you would have inside the town.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good day.
I will walk a little further then to find this.
All right.
This female.
All right. So you walk maybe 2 or 3 other house before you find yourself in front of a house that is made mostly of wood. In front, you can easily figure out that this is what she was talking about. As in front of the house, you see an emblem that looks like a horseshoe. There currently are no horse tied to the. Oh goodness, I don't know how it's called in English. Where you tie the horses in front of a building.
Stable?
No, no, just the sort of the
Hitching post. Yeah.
Paddock?
Maybe. Like I said, I don't. I'm not sure I know the word in English.
I think probably a paddock would be.
Yeah, most likely. It rings a very old bell in my head. So, so you don't see any horse tied there. However, you do see to the side of the house something that does look like a closed stable for now. Closed as in they're not out of business. The closed simply as in all doors are closed. But you can hear horses from coming from inside the building.
Okay. I'll walk over to the stable and kind of look and see if I can hear any voices or if there's somebody inside. So I'll kind of peek my head in if there are any openings.
From inside, just make a perception roll. See what you hear exactly. 16 again, alright. So you get close to the stable and you just listen in a little bit, and you recognize what would seem to be a voice. However, it feels like a child voice, and feels like it's talking to the horses.
All right. I will knock gently on the door.
All right. So you knock gently on the door, and it takes a few moments, and you hear from behind the door, "Who's there?"
Someone is wondering if they can purchase a horse.
All right. For what reason?
To travel with to a nearby gathering. Well, not that nearby. About 7 to 8 days away.
So you want to buy a horse or rent a horse?
Well, how long could I rent one for?
I don't know.
Let's go.
It sounds like you're talking to a small boy.
Okay. I'll say, I guess I'll just be more affirmative then. Let's go with rent, because I don't...
All right.
Okay. I'm just...
All right. Okay. I think there are... Hold on, I'm gonna go get my brother. And you hear him just walking and going away. So it takes a few moments. You definitely hear horse on the other side of the door. And you hear someone coming and just opening the door a little bit. The first voice sounded very young. This one seems to be human, probably end of adolescence for the Middle Ages, of course. Middle Ages.
Okay.
Let's say he's...
Hello.
Oh, wow.
Sorry about
Hello. We have 3 players tonight.
I'm buying horses right now.
that. Okay.
All right. So, like I said, probably 14, 15. He opens the door slightly, enough for you to see him and for him to see you. And he says, yes, my brother said you wanted to rent horses.
Yes. If If I could rent a horse and a cart for period of time, I have to a place that is about 8 days away. That would be great.
All right. Yeah, sure. Well, to make the final purchase, you're gonna have to come back a little bit later because my father has stepped out. He's trying to go to get a few supplies. One of our horse lost a shoe. He's going to be back in a few hours. But meanwhile, I can make the transaction if you really need to settle this right now.
Could I come and could I see the horses before I make the transaction?
Yeah, all right. Please leave your weapon at the entrance.
All right. I'll unsheath my weapon and I'll leave it at the entrance. Actually, no, I'll hand it to him and I'll say, "Here, you can keep this safe for me, because I don't want to just leave it."
All right. So you currently have a long sword and a great sword. So
just kind of drop them in his hand.
So he just takes the two of them and yeah. All right. Hold on. He just goes to the side and tries to gently place them on a bale of hay just beside the door. And yeah. I didn't know great sword weighed that much. All right, mister. And he looks at you, well, a bit oddly and just a little bit up because he's human, so you already are taller than human, but he's still he's still growing, so you are taller than him by almost 2 heads. So you can see in his eyes a little bit of the worries of having to deal with someone that if they basically won, they can just rob the place and he wouldn't ever be able to do anything about it. But he also looks at you and sort of recognize the general appearance of the paladin, and there's sort of a mix in his eyes of, oh goodness, did I make a mistake? Or is everything going to be alright?
I'm just going to confidently kind of start humming a tune and walk in to look at the horses. I'm not...
Alright. So, there are maybe 6... Oh, I was gonna say 6 or 7 horses, but then your first question would be 6 or 7. So there's 6 horses currently in the stable. They don't look like the very strong horse that would alone be able to carry a cart with 4 person in it. So you would most likely have to rent 2 of them.
Okay.
Can
I kind of look at them to see which one seems to be the best qualities? Or
well, right now he's giving you kind of a wide berth because he's not sure about exactly what's gonna happen. He really didn't evaluate you being this large. So he's really just looking at you, making sure you don't try and do something funny, while profoundly asking himself at the same time, what am I gonna do if he does something funny?
Okay. I'm again. Is Valkyria with me?
Up to the moment.
I mean, is she like with me in the barn?
Yes, definitely. Up to the moment where you were let in, she looked to be very just deep in her own thoughts. But at the moment that you entered, she became extremely distracted with each horse and started to just go at each one of them, talk to them a little bit, pet them, and then go to another one, and on and on and on.
Okay, I guess I'll ask her to to tell me her opinion then on which one she thinks is the best too. That's which are the two best horses.
Okay.
But
Um.
then I'll check it from.
Yeah. She said, yes, sure. I can tell you that. So she just goes from one horse to the next, looks at them a little bit while I'm finding her sheet, and there it is. So
What would I roll for my check? Would that be invest?
Well, actually, because you're trying. No, it's not investigation because you're trying to determine the health of an animal. So I would say a nature check.
Nature?
Well, yeah.
Okay. That's kind of why I had her do it and not me. 'Cause I'm gonna -1.
Yeah. So that's good. That's not so good.
Apparently, it doesn't matter that I got a -1 because I'm just rolling really well today. I got an 18.
All right. So
Obviously,
you
know myself some good horses.
All right. So you want to do this, or do you do it each separately, or?
Oh yeah, I could do it separately.
Because what I was going to say is, if you just want her to help you, you're gonna have advantage. If you want to help her, she is the one that has advantage. If you both do it separately, I roll for her, and we take the number.
I was gonna do it separately because I told her
Alright.
just to look at them and then give her my opinion.
All right. So 16.
Don't forget she can guidance herself too.
She can.
Yes,
She probably
can.
would.
So she got a 20 with the guidance.
Alright, so I got an 18, she got a 20. Those
Yeah.
are good rolls.
So, yeah, which mostly mean that you were in agreement. You both look at the horses, and you find two of them that looks to be very strong, very healthy. Most likely, those two horses combined together would be able to pull a cart with 4 people sitting in it, and maybe even a few supplies. So you wouldn't have to have everything in your backpacks. You could just all put your supplies for food and water at the back of the cart and always be ready for action if need be.
Alright. After checking that, I'll go back to the boy and be like, so how much for these two? And I'll point to the two horses.
For those two horse, oh, I thought it was here. I believe it was 75. Give me a moment. Player's handbook.
75 copper? Alright, that sounds good, honestly.
Yeah, for the horseshoe, yes. All right. Drafting horse and riding horse. I always get them mixed up. What is the difference between drafting and riding?
Draft horses are usually what pull carts with the big feet, and then riding horses more of just a standard thoroughbred.
Okay. So
14 and a half hands normally.
All right. Yeah. I agree. With what I have right now in front of me, yes, I agree completely. So well, for this one, it's going to be 50 gold, and for this one here, it's going to be 55. He's a bit younger, so it's from the past. You know that these are mostly fair price. 50 gold is the average. 55 isn't very much more than what people will ask normally for a draft horse.
And this is just to rent them. It's 50. 55.
Rent them, it's... Alright, yeah, that would be to buy them. To rent them, right. Hold on. A person can walk, I think it's 24 miles a day. To rent them for the distance, because they basically have to come back and be in good shape. Would be... if you want to rent them for an 8 miles trek, not an 8 miles trek, a 8-day long trek, he would ask for 25 gold and a way to reach you should the horse not come back, because you'd owe them.
So way to reach me and 25 gold.
And if you want to buy them, it's going to be 105 gold for the 2 horses.
So for reaching them, would I just send the horse back and 8 days? Just be like, go back to your stable.
Right.
And hope it made it.
On the card. Alright, so it would be the best. So the best way to do this would be to have someone accompanying you all the way, because that person would be able to just get them back there. Of course, theoretically, horses know their way back home, but 8 day of walk, there's a good chance someone's gonna try to steal them while they're going back. And as a paladin, I'm not sure that your ethic will allow you to take that risk, knowing that it is most likely not gonna be able to come back.
So I guess I'll let him know. I'll tell him that I'll be like, so we are heading to this place 8 days away. I would like to rent the horse, but in order to do so, I would probably need one of you guys to come along to be able to take the horse back, as I do not trust the roads, and return the horse, and I do not know for how long we will be gone once we go to this gathering.
All right. I'd have to talk to my father, because he might be able to ask someone from the village, from the town. He might be able to make the way back, to follow you and make the way back. And maybe also convince him not to ask you for too much more money other than what's necessary to feed and shelter him while you're getting there.
Okay.
That would most likely be it. Of course, I guess you also want a cart, and you don't want to buy the cart.
Yes, the cart would be... Do you own a cart that we could take?
Yes, carts on their own don't cost a lot. But if someone's going to accompany you anyway, I can try and talk to my father, tell him that you're going to be there, it's going to come back. Maybe he'll accept waiving the price of the cart, or maybe just making you pay a small fee for the wear and tear of the cart. Probably going to be a few gold.
Right. Come find me later this evening then. I will go find my companions, and we will just be in town probably buying supplies, so either come find us once your father is returned, or I'll come back in, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours.
All right.
As he should have.
All right. I'll tell my father that you're gonna come back, and that you most likely will take that horse and a cart for renting.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. Don't forget your swords.
I will not. I will grab my swords, and I'll probably have to pull Valkyrie along away from the horses.
Yeah, as you are walking away, she's. But I want to pet the nice horses. I can stay here until you come back.
I'll say, no, we have to go help our travel companions find supplies. We'll come back in a few hours. You can pet them more then.
Oh, okay. Alright, so she goes back to one of the horse in particular and just whispers something in the ear of the horses and comes back to you. And as you take both of your sword and you just sheath them back, you can hear a small from the teenager that just sees how easily you can take both swords simultaneously and just sheath them back simultaneously. And so you leave this stable.
Alright. And I guess I'll go find Trevor and Toby and tell them what's going on. So probably good to go to them.
All right.
See what they've been up to.
Trevor and Tobiyashi, did you tell exactly audience where you were going to go before you left, or did you just accept to reconvene at the inn when everything would be done?
Well, we had a few places we were going, so probably I would say most likely just say reconvene back at the inn.
All right.
Because I didn't even know we were going to go to the Sherouns. That was like a last minute thing. So yeah, I mean, going around to different places.
All right. So you all do your thing. Takes about maybe 2 hours, 2 hours and a half to make all the 3 stops that you made, ask all of your question and come back. So, audience, you come back at the inn and you have maybe an hour to spend all by your lonesome self. It is an inn from a trade city, so there's always someone at the inn. Right now in the inn, you can see 2 dwarf eating. There is again. You saw him several times during the evening. A man with it looks like a man, but he never took his hood down. He's wearing a gray-black cloak, and again, he's sitting alone in a corner of the inn. You can see 5 or 6 halfling talking together about their coming day of work. They're apparently farmers of the town, talking about one of their fields, what they have to do about it. They have a little problem with weasels that kept digging up what they were planting, talking about how to make a trap for them. And you see probably what looks like a half-elf bard just picking away at his lute. Most likely someone who's going to play something later on, or just someone taking a break. That's what you see right now in the inn. And of course there is the innkeeper and whatever waitress he has.
Okay. Probably just go and get some food while I wait, because it'll be about the afternoon.
You're slowly slinking. Now we can't see your mouth, and in a few moments your nose will disappear. Alright. So, alright, just a bit of food. 3 coppers, and you can have just a little snack. For a little snack, I'd say 2 copper. Because 3 copper is a poor meal. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so after an hour, maybe an hour 10 minutes, you see Tobiyashi and Trevor getting back inside the inn. And Tobiashi and Trevor, you see Valtari, who looks slightly distracted from most likely something she saw a little while ago. And you see Audience picking at the rests of whatever he just took as a meal. You'd say from the leftover, it was probably bread and maybe a few almost dehydrated pieces of cheese.
I guess Trevor will see how she's distracted. I like an audience that you walked in and said it was the horses, wasn't it? That's why I sent her with you.
And as a matter of fact, you see her with a quill slowly and distractingly draw a horse head on the table where you are.
Well, actually, I secured us a ride there if you haven't gotten the horses yet. If you have, okay. Well, have you paid them any money yet or anything? Or because we can. Nope. Okay, cool.
I have all my money.
All right, good. Because I don't know if you remember the Sherouns with the big elephant thing when we were leaving the port city. I ran into them. They recognized me, and so we could travel with them. They're heading mostly in our direction, not all the way, but they can we can ride with them until the next major city. I think he told me the name. I can't remember what it was though.
And how far is that from the place?
All right, so on the road, let me get back the map. All right, so on the road, the next stop would be the trade city of Raton in the next duchy, which is also the first city from the next duchy. From there, they are going to the capital city itself of Tolteran. From there, you could simply keep on going. They're going to stay at the capital city for quite a few days for their trades. From there, you could just keep on going, always as much north as whatever road you take can take you, and you are going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, how far was the capital city from Grazil? Just say walking distance, just for reference.
Walking distance by stopping at every village from there.
Say if we traveled with them and when they got to the capital city, we just continued on.
So with them, to get from where you are right now to the trade city of Raton, it's going to be a day and a half. And then from there, it's going to be a day to the capital city of Tolteran. And from there, you have 5 days and a half until you get to where you want to go.
All right. I said, well, looks like from what they told me, they was going to be heading to the capital city, and then it was going to, but they were going to be there for a while, so that's about as far as we could go and still keep a fast pace. But we'd be in the capital city, so we should be able to pick up anything we need there to continue on if we still need to press time.
I will say the horses I found here, we can rent them, and it'll only cost about 25 gold, which might be far cheaper than anything we would be able to find in the capital city. And also then we could much more make our own time if we wanted to move faster.
Okay.
If we bought the horses here. I mean, it's up. I'll put it to the party. I'm like, it's up to you guys, but I mean, it sounds like we're still gonna have.
Yeah, I'm not much on livestock, so I'll leave that up to you guys. You know horses better than I do, so.
Well, I'm thinking it's more just about do we want to travel on our own time and be able to kind of have more control over that, or do we want to rely on trade caravan?
Yeah. Well, I think at least still, and they said even if we had our own, they would provide feed if we wanted to travel with them. So, I mean, if you wanted to go ahead and pick them up, they would take care of them, and we could just stay with them until the capital city and then move on our own way from there. So strength in numbers is always good. So it'll get us a few days of safe travel.
Do you want to stop in the capital city, though? I thought we were trying to avoid towns. Cities. Better time.
Wouldn't mind stopping in the library for a day. Haven't seen a library in a long time already.
Okay. Trevor seems to have very much changed his tone from before. We can't stop anyway.
Yeah, it's like, capital city, library, just a little research, won't hurt anybody.
Yeah, and
I'll say, well...
Go ahead.
I think it might be just better to, since I already told them that I was probably going to pay for the horses, it might just be better to pick up the horses now, and then we'll just travel with the Sherouns and continue on with the horses.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
I'd go get a room. Wait, I think I already have a room, right? Yeah, I do.
Well, technically, yes, you still have your room in this inn for maybe another few hours before you have to renew your payment.
Okay.
Yeah, for checkout time, yeah.
Okay, wait, how much longer are we going to be here again?
Well, the Sherouns don't mind. They can leave today. Since they're a caravan, they don't mind sleeping outside. They're a very large caravan, so there's good security there. But they don't mind. They can delay their departure up until tomorrow if you really want to.
Okay.
I would be fine leaving today.
So yeah, Toby would ask you guys, like, when can we get the cart and everything?
I say we can probably get the cart within... I said I would return, so let's see, it's been like, another hour? So I was going to go back there in about 2 more hours because the owner was gone, and I was suggesting that one of them came along with us so he could take the horses back since I was only renting them. So I was waiting to hear back from them about that.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Sheroun said, they're just ready to leave whenever we're ready. So, yeah, I'd say if we can get them today, just go ahead and head out. The sooner the better.
All right. So,
yeah, I'll be ready when you are.
You wait a few hours, and then you go back to the stable where you promised to rent horses.
Yes.
So as you get there, the door is wide open, and you can hear inside someone who is most likely in the process of reshoeing a horse.
All right, I'll knock again.
This time you hear a much older voice, probably an adult, and you hear, "Yes, what is it?"
I don't know if your son mentioned, but I came by earlier, speaking about renting the 2 horses.
Ah, yes. The intimidating Dragonborn. I imagine it's you?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, sure. Come in. Just remind me which were the 2 horses you wanted to rent.
All right, I'll walk in. I'll point to the 2.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough to do. I've asked the owner of the blacksmith for a favor from her daughter. She's not the one that's going to be accompanying you. However, and you see him take out a scroll and says, as soon as you leave town, and he hands you the scroll, say it, or have someone or in your party who can actually use scrolls, and a minor elemental is going to be following you all the way till you get to wherever you want to go, and he's going to be the one getting the cart back here after.
Alright, sounds good. Trevor will probably know how to do that, so...
So you take the scroll and hand it to Trevor, or you just point at Trevor immediately?
Oh, did Trevor come with me? I didn't know if Trevor came with me.
I'm sure I don't know. Yeah. I'll go with him though.
All right then.
I don't know if he would just go without being asked, but yeah, if he asked me to go, then sure, I'll tag along.
All right.
All right. I'll look over. I'll look over to Trevor and kind of look at him. Like, can you read the scroll?
He hands you the scroll.
Prude.
Yeah,
Open
it's
it up. What language is it in? I'm assuming common.
Arcane common.
Yeah.
And you can easily recognize this as a summoning scroll.
Okay. Yep. Easy enough.
Something very basic. It's not gonna call a major elemental.
Okay. I'll nod to him and I'll say like, all right. So what's the payment?
All right. So for the 2 horses, I think my son said it was going to be around 20 gold.
Yes. 25.
25? All right, then 25. And 5 gold for the cart.
All right. 30 gold. Okay.
All right.
I will pass him 30 gold and I will just pay for it because I picked up all the gold at our last place, so I assume I have the majority.
Yeah, you didn't tell anyone that you took the gold, so technically, and you were alone in the room when you took it, so no one knows that you have a bag full of gold coming from the cave. So, yes,
well,
you...
I guess they just think I'm real generous.
And richer than they are. And Trevor, actually, when you look at this, you sort of remember that when you were in the port city, audience had no cash at all. And you don't remember anyone in the group receiving a lot of money, but when you're starting to add things up, Tobiashi and audience seems to be fairly richer than you are right now.
He won't say anything. He'll just watch and... Okay.
The audience was just able to throw away 30 gold without thinking about it twice. And Tobiashi offered you a feast the day before without thinking about it. We're talking about a monk.
Trevor's got a little bit on him now, but
yeah, but
not nearly enough. But
they don't seem to have had to sell anything to get all that money.
Might talk about it on the ride.
Just flash cash.
Yeah, sure. He lets the big pouch of gold. 1 gold, 2 gold, 2, 3 gold, 4 gold.
Yeah, no, I want to think I just pull out this giant pouch of just gold. I just calmly pour 30 gold in and just hand it over.
Oh, sorry,
to
that was 31.
oh, yeah.
Here you go. All right, so he takes the gold. He immediately starts preparing the cart and the horses. He asks for help from one of his sons. All the time you're there, you are just able to glance for a few moments at what is probably the wife of this stable master. She doesn't seem to be participating much in this, but you do see her take in a little bit of feed for not the horses, but something else, and then she just goes back out. Okay. Human, a bit prettier than what you would expect the wife of a townsman to be, but other than that, she seems normal. And so the cart
man has game. Respect.
So he prepares the cart. Takes maybe 15 minutes in total. You have the 2 horse harnessed to the cart. You have
Go get those shrams.
A fair amount of feed inside the cart. Enough for 16 days. and you are escorted out with your rented new cart and horses. One horse is a black horse with a few white spots, and the other one is a whole mess of brown, black, white, and a few gray spots. So one is most likely a very mixed breed. The other one, well, mixed, but mixed enough to not be more pricey than they should be. But you get the feeling that, oh, alright, it's probably not very mixed. And both of them look very healthy. And so, right now, it is about 12, almost 1 in the afternoon. What do you all do?
Well,
I mean, I'm pretty much ready to go. I'm ready
Yeah.
when everyone else is.
yeah, Trevor's ready, but as they're walking out and leading the way after everybody else is gone, all the the horse handlers and all that, he's gonna like look through the scroll and just see if it's within his range that he might be able to transcribe this and learn this permanently.
I'd say yes.
All right. What level do you consider it, just so I know monetary value-wise?
I'd consider this a level 2 spell.
Okay.
Because it was made by the daughter of the blacksmith who just came back from school, and she just finished her schooling. So basically, she's the equivalent of a level 3 wizard.
Gotcha.
So it is a level 2. From glancing at it without pronouncing the spell, it does feel like it's meant to call a minor elemental servant. It doesn't have much. It doesn't say much about how sturdy it is, but it does talk about calling an obedient creature.
Alright. Okay.
And actually, I'd have you make an Arcana check for one more detail.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll go sit in the back waiting for everybody.
Let me see, it's a 15 total.
15. All right. You would say that glancing at it from what you've learned about elementals and what you've seen so far, it would most likely call upon something very similar to Bob.
Okay. Alright. Good enough for me. He got something to connect that with, so alright. Okay, it's good enough for now. Alright. I'll just roll it back up and put it back in the scope.
All right.
What's taking you guys so long? You guys are just standing up. Sitting in the back.
So you...
Well, Trevor was just kind of walking behind the horses and cart. I imagine audience and Val were probably leading them or whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
Valtteri has a very good animal handling, so she would probably be the one leading the cart.
Right.
What makes the most...
just tell her. I would tell her about where the Sherouns were and just say, look for the big elephant creatures. Yeah, again.
I'll probably just be walking in front.
All right. You could also be... It would also make sense for you to be riding shotgun, since it is the most dangerous position inside a cart. I don't know if you know where...
I mean, I wouldn't probably be riding yet
Alright.
because we're just still walking through town.
All right. So, yes, of course.
I'd be sitting shotgun.
Well, as I was about to say, I don't know if you know where the expression comes from.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah, riding on top of the wagons because you got the shotgun.
Exactly.
Protect it, yeah.
Which means you were also the first one targeted if someone attacked the convoy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So Tobiyashi gladly asked to ride shotgun with Valtteri, and probably in this day and age it would be called riding crossbow. So, and Trevor walking beside the horse or already inside the car?
Trevor would probably be already riding inside the car or whatever.
All right, which makes it very easy for you to see what's inside the scroll.
Oh.
All right, so how do the horse? Oh wow! Without a problem, Valtteri just takes the reins of the two horses and they just start moving very slowly. She has just done this as if she had done this all of her life with a nice roll of 25, sorry.
Yeah.
So she would probably even, with a roll like that, she would have been able to keep the horse calm while you are under attack. So you all make your way slowly toward the Sheroun caravan. You see them all slowly preparing their stuff. Because you haven't seen them already, audience and Valtteri. As you approach them, you see these two Goompas traveling with them, which, as I've said, are bear-like creatures, a little bit bigger than an elephant in size. Sherouns will very often harness them to transport wares, but also they will place on their side these little pods in which they will sleep and live when they don't want to walk or if they have injuries or need to prepare things. So it is not only beast of burden, but also mobile house for them. You see a very large number. There are quite a lot more of them as when you first approach them, Trevor and Tobiyashi. Just by looking at their number, you can easily see... Trevor, make a... Well, anyone who would want to have a precise idea of how many there are, you can make an intelligence roll. Otherwise, you don't have to. You're going to get a rough estimate.
That's cocked on. That sucks too because it was a natural 20, but that's still 13 plus 4, so 17.
17. All right. Well,
15.
all right. So audience, you didn't roll, so I'd say just by looking at them, you can easily say, oh wow, there's over a dozen of them, maybe even 20. All small with their sombrero-sized shaped mushroom hat. You can notice the pattern on their hats all being very similar to one another, only one being significantly, well, not significantly, but enough that you notice he has a different status inside the group, but very similar to everyone else. For Tobiyashi and Trevor, just by looking at them, oh wow, there's all you can count, especially Trevor because you roll a little bit higher. You were able to count 22 of them in total. And Tobiyashi, you'd say there were about 20 of them. So...
Alright.
They're all very busy. They're in their last maybe half an hour of preparations, harnessing everything, placing everything back into their package. And as they see you coming, one of them comes to greet you. Oh, well, you're back.
Yep. Yeah. We They have companions secured some horses and a cart, so looks like we're traveling with you at least until the capital city.
All right. Sure. That's going to be nice. One thing, I hope you don't mind sleeping in your cart, because I don't think that we have any pods large enough for him. And he points toward audience. But for you, Mister, and your friend, and he points toward Tobiyashi, I guess we have a pod that is large enough for the two of you. Your friend Valerie is a bit tall. It would be easier if she slept in your cart, but we could probably arrange something for her. And also with her tail, I'd imagine she doesn't want to sleep with her tail hanging from the door of the pod.
Well, I've never had one, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, and I'll ask her. Yeah, that's up to you.
He says, I don't mind. I've slept with my tail outside of the room or door at least once before, so I know it's going to be all right. Except if it's very cold. I don't mind. So all right. Well then.
Pod sounds.
What did you say?
Oh, I said the pod sounds nice.
Yeah, the pods look like they're meant to be several Sheroun sleeping inside one, but because you're so much taller than a Sheroun, it would basically be one pod for the both of you. One sleeping in one side, the other one sleeping on the other side.
All right.
Cozy.
Oh yeah.
It is a bit cramped. You will probably like it very much when the morning comes to stretch a little bit with your feet dangling out of the pod. But otherwise, it looks like it's probably very well insulated. You're confident that you'd probably be able to go into almost Arctic conditions in one of those.
Yeah.
And it looks very sturdy. So,
How heavy does it look?
Sorry?
How heavy does it look?
The pod itself?
Yes.
In pounds? I'd say the pod itself probably feels like 500 or 600 pounds.
Ooh.
And they're
Right.
no, Gumpas are extremely sturdy animals. Just by looking at them, imagine a bear the size of an elephant, a little bit bigger. So, proportionally speaking, bears are wider than elephant. So it's a very sturdy beast, and it can carry a lot of weight.
Okay.
And there are, on the Gumpa that you've been invited to take this pod if you want to rest or go there for the night. There are actually 6 pods in total. 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. The second Gumpa has only 1 set of pods, so 2 pods. And everything else is harnessed in a way that would help to carry their wares. And there's a lot of it. They really know how to pack this tightly and securely. So they keep on preparing everything. You see one Sheroun get closer to the cart with the horses and very expertly just looks at the horse, and you very quickly notice a few arcane gesture. Well, not arcane. I should have to say divine. And then he starts talking to the horse, and Valtteri lose completely control of them. The horse just start following the Sheroun. So, well, Valtteri would recognize this as a spell that she has currently memorized. So, if you're listening, player of Valtteri, it is the spell Talk with Animals that was just used. So the animals become very attentive to what the Sheroun has to say, and they start following. And Sheroun just say, take a place, make yourself at home. We are leaving in about an hour, unless you need us to wait a little further.
No, I think we're all pretty much ready to go.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you need anything, my name is Jehoon. You can always ask for me. I will be probably handling most of everything that has to do with you. Otherwise, the Caravan Master, and he points toward the Sheroun that has a hat slightly different than the other one. You can just call him Caravan Master. He's going to recognize this very easily. It's what most outsiders call him anyway. So he handles almost everything. He is the leader of our expedition, and coincidentally our clan. So, do you have any question before we start to finish the preparation and leave?
No, I think I'm good for now.
Then he looks at you, audience.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. And Tobiyashi, he looks at you and sees that you are absently staring in nothingness. So, he's all right. Well then.
I'm ready.
All right. So, choose a place, get comfortable. We will be leaving very shortly. And just as he says, maybe 3/4 of an hour later, you hear a few words spoken in Sheroun, and you start seeing the two large Goomba walking. You see your cart starting to follow them, and the caravan starts moving. So, you have an entire day of travel, the entire rest of the day of travel in front of you. You are walking with a very large caravan, which means you are as safe as you would expect a group as large as that to be. You easily have the impression that Goompas are probably very hard to subdue. And with things you've seen with the Sheroun, they probably have a few tricks in their bags should they be attacked. So you have roughly 6 hours of walk in front of you. Is there anything you would like to do while you're walking? Oh.
Just relax.
All right.
Finally.
Yeah.
Kind of calm.
Yeah, for now, just relax, I'd say. Yeah, just chill.
Yeah.
All right.
Meditate.
Nice. All right. Meditate.
Astral practice.
Practicing astral projection.
While you're doing that, he'll say, "Hey, can I join in on that? Teach me a little bit more on that."
Oh yeah, definitely. Just do this, and then I'll show him how to meditate and everything that I've learned.
All right.
All right. So, the day goes by without any problem. You can see the cloud. You can see a few dark clouds, but none of them stop and give you rain. The Sheroun themselves seems to be a very jovial group. From time to time, you can even hear them sing, and just keep watch. And this day goes by without any problems. You find yourself when the sun is starting to set. You see the Sheroun start to unpack, and they'll say, "Well, we're going to spend the night here. If there's anything you need to do specifically," and he looks toward Trevor and Valtteri when he says that. You can always do it here. We're going to be serving the meal in 1 hour. If you want to join us, there's more than enough food for everyone. Otherwise, until then, you are free to do whatever you want, feel, or need to. Is there anything you would like to do for the hour of wait?
Well, first Trevor will go and look and find the one that looked to be in charge or whatever, the one that kind of pointed out, I guess.
The Caravan Master? Yes, of course.
Yeah. And walk up to them and say, I'm in a little bit of need. I'm not sure you guys carry it or if I could work off part of it or something, but I came in possession of a scroll that I would like to learn, and it's going to cost me about, I'll say, 100 gold pieces. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the ink and paper needed for the.
Yes, of course.
But I have only about 50 I could spare to buy half of it, so I didn't know if there's a way I could possibly work off the other half somehow, helping out or helping you sell something in our towns or something. I'm not sure, but
let me see. You have the feeling that he's a little bit older than the other one. He does speak a little bit slower, but he seems to be very confident in everything he does. So he looks around and says, "Well, someone your size can always be very useful to help pack and unpack faster. And we will be spending 2 days in Raton. We could maybe try and have you sell a few things. It's only a day, so."
Raton was our next stop, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a trade city, so they're going to spend an extra day there.
Yeah.
All right. You said I believe one of our clan members told me that you were going to Gross Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be our last stop. We're eventually going a little outside of that town, but that'll be the last town that we pass through.
All right.
To our destination.
I might actually have something that you could do for us.
Okay.
Just before you get to Gross Hill, there is a small town. It's going to be very easy to recognize. On your way, maybe 2/3 of the way, you're going to come to a crossroad. It's a very easily recognizable crossroad, as in one in each direction. The town that follows this one, we actually have someone there waiting for a small package. We were planning to go there, but first we had to go to the next capital city in our way. If you wouldn't mind delivering this package, it would get there a lot sooner. And I'd be willing to ask one of our sorcerers to maybe help you learn the scroll. Providing that you are willing to give the other 50 gold.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah, and that's not too far out of our way, so yeah, I don't see that being a problem.
Actually, from what you're saying, it's exactly in your way.
How big's the package? Do you have it on hand? I can go.
Just give me a moment. He turns around, asks one of the Sherouns to. He asks something in his own language, which, if I'm not mistaken, none of you know how to speak Halfling or Primordial.
Nope.
No.
All right, so you don't understand what he's saying, but another Sheroun comes back with a package roughly the size of a basketball. It is very tightly wrapped in a sort of paper which looks gray, but it is tied with a string that looks slightly golden, and I'd say, Trevor, make an Arcana roll.
Yeah, that's a 2, so that's an 8.
All right. You'd say that the string have magic imbued in them. That's about it.
All right.
And just looking at it, you can easily see that unless you mess with the string, there's no way to open this.
And he'll kind of give it a shake, see if he hears anything.
No.
Is it fragile or anything?
Oh, no, it's not fragile at all.
Okay. All right. Then he'll just kind of look back at the cart and do a little hook shot. Toss it in the cart. No, just kidding. No, he just holds on to it.
That's good. Caravan Master might have started to wonder if he'd done a good deal.
Yeah. You just said basketball, so I had the instant thought was like the Globetrotter half-court hook shot there, you know? So.
All right. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'll just warn our sorcerer, and he can start you off. Give you the necessary component to do this.
All right, no problem. And I'll have the 50 gold to pay for the other half when he gets with me, and no rush, just within, it can even be tomorrow or something, just when he has time.
He most likely will talk to you during the evening meal if you join us.
Okay. Easy enough.
All right.
And I guess that'll be it for now, for at least that hour. Okay. He'll go back to the group and say, worked out a deal. We got to make one small stop right outside of Groushill at another town to drop off this package for the Sheroun. So, fair trade for how they're helping us here. So, yeah. And they're helping me a little bit. This scroll, I'm actually going to learn permanently, so we can still use it, and I'll have it in the future.
So you do know that when you learn a scroll this way, the scroll doesn't survive the process.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Well, I might want to make another Arcana check on this, but could I summon it and command him to return them, as if I was reading her scroll. Could I still use mine in the same process?
Okay, so basically you want to see if you can learn the scroll, and once you've learned the scroll, try and summon the creature and have him do the returning?
Yeah. After a rest, swap it to, swap my spells to that one and then summon him to return it.
Wow. Well, of course, you can do an Arcana check to see if there is any clues as the scroll is written, see if that would be possible. But from the clues of what it is, since you don't see exactly what is going to be the type of elemental summon, roll high.
Well, that's 15 plus 6, so 21.
You'd say that it is possible with one factor you're not sure of. You don't see from the way the scroll is written how long the creature stay functioning if you summon it at your level. So it might be possible. It depends on how long the creature stays summoned.
Okay.
In other words, there is a risk.
Okay.
All right. So, and just so that you remember, scroll being destroyed when you learn them is a rule from the Dungeon Master Guide. So.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember it. I just still new to Wizards, so that one slipped my mind. But yeah, I know that you mentioned it. I do remember that.
All right. So, Tobiyashi and audience, is there anything you'd like to do in the hour of preparation, or we're just ready to keep on going?
I'm ready.
I just sharpen my blade and meditate.
All right.
For to get back to tell us what's going on.
All right. So the hour goes by, and dinner is served. So the Sheroun all gathers near their gumpas. They're placed in a V shape, so it really protects from one side, and they place it so the wind doesn't bother them. The table, we could call it a table anyway, is set, and there is a very wide variety of very simple food, but a lot more diversity than you would initially expect. It is very natural in the way that it feels. You can see in a few bowls there are honeycombs with the honey dripping from them. You can see large pieces of probably ricotta cheese. I don't know if you know what this is. All right. Inside a few bowls, a few dried meats. There are a few fruits. Some look fresh, some look dried. There are even a few that you have no clue what this is, including a big one the size of a honeydew watermelon, but it is white with blue at each tip. This one is fresh. There are also a number of them that are completely dried. Looks slightly chewy. You see a number of bowl filled with different, probably kind of spices. And a few bowl with liquids in them, and bread also. So they all invite you to share in. They just give you a quick once over of what's there. So in the bowls with the spices, there are spices. Usually just add a few on whatever you want to spice up. They give you a small explanation of this spice adds a little bit of flame to what you're trying to eat. This one adds a little bit of sweetness. This one, it's a little bit salty, and some even would say slightly peppery. And for the sauces, one of them, well, this is a sauce that you get when you mix this fruit and when you cook this meat. So it goes very well with everything else. Most just dip their bread in it, but if you actually just want to put it a bit inside your plate, you can just let everything marinate a little bit. It'll give a different taste to everything. As far as the fruit, there is a variety of fruit. Of course, there are some mistle fruit. They look healthier than the season would suggest they should be. Enough for you to betray the fact that they either have been making deals with druids quite often, or there are actually druids inside their caravan, which most would support what Trevor saw as one was escorting the horse. And that is, well, the quick version of everything that is on the table. And he says you can eat to your heart's content.
Alright. I'll say thank you. Start helping himself. Throw a little bit of spice on this, that, and the other.
And of course, yes, of course, I forgot. How silly of me. There are dried mushrooms.
Of course, Trevor has to ask, is there any wine available?
I don't know if it's ready yet. Give me a moment. You ask one of the Sherouns, they start talking in their own language, and says, well, we might have a cask that is reaching its adult stage. It might be a bit young, but if you're willing to make that sacrifice, yeah, we could probably serve you a few pints.
I'll give it a try. If you're willing to open it, I'm willing to drink it.
You see them open this quite expertly as you see them slowly hoisting down this cask, and you see one waving his hand over it. You see the top of the cask simply open as if the wood was suddenly animated itself and just parted ways. You see one make a few hands gesture, and you see the wine just go out the barrel on its own, like a little fountain, and empties a container, which for you is about the size maybe of 2 pints. Liquid goes back in. You see the one that just moved the wood, make a few hand gestures again, and you see the wood close. You hear a little, and then he hoists the barrel back again on the gold buzz.
And Trevor will take the 2-pint glass, I guess, and say thank you, and sit down and start eating.
Right, so just like he said, and you recognize it easily, it is a bit young, but it is on the first stages of being recognized officially as wine. Maybe in a 5 or 6 months, it's going to be a fine wine, but right now it is wine fresh of the year.
I've had worse. I'm just glad he's able to get something and still keep his aged bottle that's still like half full in there.
Well, if you drank even more, so now it's probably a quarter
It's
full.
probably about a third, a quarter. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Tobiyashi and audience. Tobiyashi, you look frozen.
Yeah, I think he is.
And I don't have any word on No. All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Yeah, maybe he'll rejoin in a second.
we're about due for the break. So, audience, is there anything you want to do for the meal?
No. I'll just eat my
All
meal.
right.
Not too-
So you sit down. You eat a bit of everything. Just a few things.
No, I have a good meal. I'll eat
All
a
right.
lot.
So you try a little bit of everything.
Audience single-handedly eats like 2/3 of everything they have out there.
Now it is quite abundant. You get the feeling that Sherouns are either very rich or very good at foraging. So the evening goes.
I'm guessing the latter. So.
So the evening goes by merrily, with the Sheroun talking among themselves. Maybe once or twice, someone will query about where you are going and why you want to get to this place outside of Groshill. Do you share that information?
Not right away. I guess I would first say they were just, not asshole-ish, but just ask, why are you curious? Do you have business around that area? Yeah.
No, actually, it's only because we've heard quite a few travelers are going there. We were wondering why.
There's just a meeting. We don't know much about it, but he'll actually share. Not specific details, but just we don't really have a whole lot of details ourselves anyway. But as vague as he can. There's just a meeting. We were sent a letter, and we have to show up. Won't tell them about the coins or anything either, but we have no idea what it's about. So, but don't have a whole lot of info to share with you. It's just we're going there to check it out and see why we are needed.
I see. And turns toward you, audience. Do you like to add something to this?
Yes. No, I think Trevor explained it pretty well.
Oh, all right. A meeting. Well, that is an interesting thing. A lot of interesting people can be met at a meeting. A lot of interesting opportunities as well.
Well, yep. I'm sure there will be several that present themselves there. So, looking forward to it. I think.
All right. Oh, that's very interesting. I'm gonna have to think about this. Probably ask a few others. So the evening goes by uneventful for the rest. And you all finish eating your meal. You go back to where you are supposed to go to sleep. Trevor, there is a pod ready for you. Tobiyashi, if you're still listening, but just not able to say anything, you all are also shown to your pod. And audience, you are asked if you'd like anything to make you more comfortable in your cart.
Do you have any blankets or anything?
Yes, of course. We can have some blankets. Would you like also something for a pillow?
Yes, that'd be great.
Very well. Don't worry about it. We will accommodate you as best as we can. We're very sorry that we don't have anything large enough for you.
That's perfectly alright.
All right. Well, have a good night. Someone will be there in a few moments to give you your blanket and your makeshift pillow.
Thank you.
And so, you all go to sleep, and we will take our break right now.
Alright.
Alright.
Yeah, Toby just messaged in the Discord, says internet's kind of wacky, so maybe it'll straighten out by the time we get off break.
Let's hope so. Alright. So, see you all back in 10 minutes. Have a good break. And hope you will all be there when we get back. Bye. 10 minutes.
Right.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, internet decided not to let us have our monk back. We hope he will be able to figure out why the internet is mean to him. In the meanwhile, well, it's sort of not a bad deal because we have two players who wanted to talk to one another, so we might actually have a good chance of doing this. So, you spend the night without any problems. Trevor, just before you were about to go back to your pod, the sorcerer that you were told about just comes by and tells you that, tomorrow during the day, if you ever want to look at the scroll that you have, let me know. We can start work on it. You have a cart, so we could easily just take place in your cart and see what we can do.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably spend some time with that tomorrow.
Right. So, as I've said, the night goes by without any problem. Do you all just go to bed and not worry about a thing, or do you sleep very lightly and from time to time watch outside?
I'll go to bed.
Yeah, and well, you said those pods were kind of short, like my feet would be hanging out, right? Kind of.
Well, if you want to stretch out completely, yes, but if you don't mind sleeping in a slightly fetal position, no, nothing's going to be dangling.
Yeah, I'll stretch out, lay my legs out, and since my coat's still packed up in my bag, I'll take it out, lay it over my legs, and set towel out there on my legs, and just tell them to keep an eye out there while I sleep, and make some noise if anything threatening looks like it's coming for us.
All right. In the middle of the night, you are woken by a psychic tug on your on your mind.
Okay, he'll wake up and then raise up and look and see if he sees anything.
You look outside, and of course you see a few Sheroun outside. A few of them are keeping watch. On the horizon, you see something that you've never seen before. Maybe a mile out, you can see light dancing in the clouds. And then they have a slightly pinkish color. And a few minutes after you start watching those, you see two balls of light starting to fall slowly from the sky, turning around one another, and they keep falling until they touch the ground. And you see a flash of light, and it is hard to make out. You literally have to use Tau eyes to see them clearly at one point. But going to his eyes, you can see two figures in the shadows. One looks a bit gray, and the other one closer to black than gray. And you see them just going at it against one another. From where you are, and even with the eyes of Tau, it only looks like two balls of light throwing themselves at one another, hitting themselves, flashing with colors, pulling apart, turning around one another a few moments, then crashing into one another again, and then after 5 or 6 encounters like this, you see one starting to lose a bit of light, has sort of a vanishing shimmer to it, and then you see it flies off and disappear, and the one staying there, you see this ball of light encompassing it again, and it starts rising up slowly, going back into the clouds. And then the night becomes quiet again.
And this was about a mile away, you said?
You really
Not
need
anywhere.
You really need to see through Tao's eyes to see all of those details. And even those details were kind of blurry. You have no idea what race they were, what weapons they had.
After that, he'll just grab his journal and make notes of what all he's seen there, and just put it back in his thing, keep it on record there. And since me and I guess Toby were bunking together, did he happen to wake up and see any of this, or is it just me, since Tao woke me up for it?
Unless you woke him, no, he didn't see this.
Okay, all right. I would say no, he probably was, well, I don't know. He was within arm's reach of me, right?
Yep.
Okay. He probably wouldn't just say anything, and just as he was keeping eye contact with it all, he probably just kind of hit his leg, and try and wake him up, without saying anything.
Okay, let's see what he saw. With a perception roll. Perception. Oh, he doesn't have any proficiencies in perception, just defeat.
Just his passive, yep.
Oh, wow. Alright.
Still might roll okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he looks in front of him and... wow, it's a nice show of light, but I can't see much. It's too dark.
Yeah, I've seen most of it through Tao's eyes. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't seeing things, so just the fact that he's seen something was good enough for me, and then he'll take his notes, because he woke Toby up while this was happening, so...
Alright. So...
I guess we'll leave it at that for now, yeah, and I'll just explain to him kind of what I saw, that it looked like it was just two balls of light fighting out there. One of them got weaker and fled, and the other one went back up in the clouds. It was weird.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really weird.
Pretty sure it's useless, but can make any kind of check to see. I'm pretty sure I've never seen anything like this. But...
You can. I'd say it would be a history check.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I'm pretty sure I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, no, I haven't. That is going to be 13.
No, definitely. You've never seen or heard anything like this before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he'll just make his notes and maybe come across something to reference it against later. Leave it at that.
All right. So, this is all that happens during the night. You go back to sleep. You are not woken again by Tao. And in the morning, Trevor, Audience, Tobiashi, and Valtteri all wake up refreshed. Interestingly, not feeling too heavy from their meal. And ready to go on with their day. Audience and Trevor, is there anything you'd like to do before the caravan starts moving again? You probably have something like half an hour, 3/4 of an hour before everything's ready to move.
I'll eat breakfast.
Sure thing. Sheroun's most likely already have something taken out. A few fruits, a few dried meats. It is not as rich as the meal that you had the evening before, but you can easily recognize this as something that would make a very hearty morning.
Trevor do the same. He'll eat and sit next to the audience while he's eating and say, I've been meaning to talk to you about your God and all that. It kind of interests me. Well, if we got plenty of travel time, I think we can talk about it for a little while.
Oh, absolutely.
Today. Okay.
I'll always talk about the glory of the dragons.
Trevor just kind of roll his eyes and hold a comment and not say anything. Say, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it later. We got a full day of travel. I have to get with the sorcerer here in a bit and work on a spell here, but after that, I'll get with you.
So the Sheroun finish preparing the caravan, and it starts leaving. The Sheroun who talked to you the evening before comes by and sort of makes a gesture implying that maybe you could help me get inside your car.
He'll hold his hand down. Trevor's not that strong, but they're not that big either, so hopefully he can lift him up.
Their hat is more encumbering than heavy. So you
hoist him up, help him out best you can. Yeah.
And he just takes out a few an ink pot, a few magical scroll that are blank, and a few common ingredients that you recognize easily as ingredients to test out different variation of what's written, to make sure that you can rewrite it in a way that you can understand it. And how long would you like to spend doing this?
You said it was a second level spell? So it'd take, was it 4 hours, I think? And we got, what, a full day of travel ahead of us?
Oh, goodness. Hold on.
Where'd you lose it?
Because I have a bar with all of the books open, but the bar jumped from one screen to the next, so I lost it for a moment.
I can tell you here in just a second. I'm just double checking.
Here you go.
Yeah, 2 hours and 50 gold pieces per level of spell, so yeah, 4 hours. But yeah, how many hours of travel do we have today to the next town?
You have 9 hours of work if you spend even your dinner working. You will be arriving not long before sunset.
Oh, so 9 hours of travel. Okay,
Yep.
I got you. I thought you said working. I'm like, 9 hours to learn the scroll?
No, I meant you
like,
can work
what
for
level
up
is
to
this?
9 hours if you
Okay,
want.
gotcha. All right. Yeah, no, I think it only takes like 4. So yeah, he'll spend the 4 with it at least, and that'll be half the day, and see if we complete it by then.
All right. So you start preparing the scroll. You start talking with this Sheroun, and you realize that he's quite knowledgeable about everything arcane, but you can also recognize the difference between sorcerer and wizard, and it really becomes apparent very fast that he's not that used to learning by studying books, but he is very confident about his abilities and how to explore his own hidden potential to make spells come out the way that sorcerers are known for. So he can help you very easily. I'd say with his help, after a while, you even notice that you would be able to shave off a little bit of time to learn this. So I'd say
Okay.
you could make your roll to see if you learn the spell after 3 hours.
Okay. Just a D20 roll and.
Actually, the roll to learn them. Hold on.
I didn't know it was actually a roll to learn them. I just thought it was just the monetary and time cost there, but it's an earlier. Yeah. I don't know about learning them at an earlier rate, so yeah, you have to tell me on that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's still that rule. I just can't find like player's handbook. Maybe it's. I guess it closed. Alright. The book closed. I'll have to open it again. Player's handbook. Alright. I believe it's an Arcana roll, but I want to make sure. Learning spell.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen is under your spell book in the wizard area, the copy in the spell book, which only says the time and monetary costs, but if you're giving me a chance to do it at a faster rate, then yeah, there should be some kind of roll to it, I would say, for sure.
Spell book. Copying spell into. Alright, here you go. The cost for. Come on, stop giving me those. Copying a spell, you spell, while reproducing the basic system. I was sure you needed to make a Arcana roll at the end. Learning spells. The two wizard spell. Each of those spells will learn. Yeah, I know. All right. I must be mistaking between version.
Might have been an earlier edition, something. Yeah. But to learn it at an earlier rate, I could make a roll to see if I learn it in 3 hours instead of 4. Just make me a DC, and I can tell you. But I'm probably not going to make it with that roll. But
what was the roll?
A 7. Yeah. I don't know if there's an. Even if I have my intelligence modifier, that's only 11. So yeah.
Maybe it's in the Dungeon Master Manual with the scroll. I'm sure you have to roll something. Wearing item, magical item. Alright, here you go. I just go determine the spell saving. How will a spell can be copied by using a spell book can be copied. When a spell is copied from a spell scroll, the copier must succeed on an intelligence arcana check with a DC of 10 plus spell level. If the check succeeds, the spell is successfully copied. Whether the check is succeeded or fails, the spell scroll is destroyed. You're muted.
Well, on an Arcana, I would pass then because that is 7 plus 6. So that would be a 12, and then I rolled 13. So yeah.
Then it succeeds barely.
Yeah.
You finish transcribing this, and you start looking at this. Okay, this is good. I think we have it. And just as you're about to make your final revision to make sure you didn't copy, you see the scroll starts to burn and disappear. And say, oh shit, I'm pretty sure I had it. I hope I didn't make any mistake. Alright, I will add that spell to D&D Beyond for the next session.
Alright. Okay. Right.
So,
Good enough, then.
yes.
Hopefully I can use that and escort the horses back for us.
All right.
We shall see.
So, all right. How long? Level 2. I think that's well. I'll have to make sure. I'll check other spells with a long time, but I believe it's a week. I'll have to make sure.
A week for what?
The servant will stay active.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. I guess after that, I will give him my half of the component cost there and give him the 50 gold and say, thank you.
All right. So, you've managed to learn a new spell.
Yeah.
Audience, your day goes by very normally. Day is clear. The cloudy skies of the night before have all parted. It is a very, pardon the pun, radiant day, even in the eyes of a paladin. Time goes by, and you see Trevor have an expression of success, followed by a moment of doubt as you see the scroll that was handed to you burn and disappear.
Alright. I will, I guess, think to myself, I hope that whatever he did, it's still going to work.
Yeah, I guess I'll see him look at him and say, I think I got it. We'll see.
Maybe not.
And you hear this very disturbing comment in the eyes of a paladin. I believe I got it.
I'll kind of just be like, well, I don't know magic, so
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's what it looks like.
It's the start of it. But, all right, after that, he'll go and sit with the audience, take out his journal to write some notes, open it up, and just start talking with him about your dragon. So tell me about this dragon that, that approached you and wants to become a god.
Well, he is a god. He does not want to become a god. All dragons are already gods. Some do just not want to admit it to us mortals yet. But my dragon's name is I have it in my didn't find it. Drahasavan, who taught me all I know and made me.
Okay.
And made
That's the
me,
one in. That's the one in the parentheses in your name up there, right? Is that the dragon's name?
No, that's my clan name.
Okay, I just want.
Both are very
You
similar.
can just type it. You can type it in chat or whatever, so I get the spelling of it right later. But that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Right, so.
Yeah. But just like. But
Yeah, so
No.
he taught me everything I know and then told me to go out into the world and spread his teachings.
Interesting. What is he is he a brass dragon like you are?
No, he was not. He was a glorious green dragon, in fact.
You see Trevor's face just kind of go slack there. His mouth kind of open a little.
And of course, audience, you've been warned that some people will have this reaction if you speak the colors of your dragon without having first asked a few questions to see how much knowledge they have of dragons.
And Trevor will start up. He's like, a green dragon? Are you And he'll pause for a minute and just.
And then I'll be like, I know. Some misguided souls of green dragons is violent and evil. My master told me of this, but they are wrong.
The green dragon told you this.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, after I caught myself there, I'm trying to get better with the words I say, but I was going to ask if you understand what the metallics and the chromatics represent there, but apparently you do. But yeah, well, we'll see. Do you know of any tales of anything that he might have done noteworthy or anything, helping?
Oh, he told me many stories of how he had saved our village multiple times, and that's in fact why our clan name is Drahasavir, off of his name, and how that he had been helping mortals since forever. But how the exiles had changed his story and the story of so many dragons so that they were not seen as good and gods, and that's why so many people feared those colors.
So does your clan have memory of him helping you out? Does your whole clan worship him, or just some?
My clan, although few listen as clearly as I do, most of them do know of him as a good and benevolent force to our village.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate the talk. It's just trying to understand this a little more. I'm still not quite sure I do, but it's a start.
Welcome. I'll be willing to share information anytime.
How often do you speak to him? I mean, does he seek you out, or when's the last time you spoke to him?
Oh, I actually spoke to him quite recently. He told me of some of my failings, but also my successes, and he offered me different powers that I could take. And in fact, a recent creed I took was because of him, and he granted me the power. That's
interesting. So you've got some new powers. Just curious, what did he say your failings were? Just curious here, just trying to see his way of thinking here.
He said that although I had converted many people on our travels, few had actually stuck with the teachings after I left.
Trevor just gives a nod and I wonder why. Doesn't say that, but just he's trying to act interested in this.
Although he did say that definitely a few had remained faithful.
That's
interesting.
Concerning. He's just going to be. Interesting. Yeah, start to say concerning, but fall into interesting there. Okay. Well, if I have any other questions, I'll hit you up. Yeah, that's. When we stop in the capital city, don't mind if I just do a little research into his name by chance, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right. Appreciate that. Let's see if I can, no offense, find anything that might be able to back up your claims there. I honestly hope I do.
The audience, your lord did tell you that there always were risks when trying to research the history of a dragon, when you're trying to research them in the library of those who never had a good view of the dragon. They might have a biased opinion. And this can be reflected in what they write.
Yes. I do know that, but I'll still let Trevor do
All
that.
right.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, that'll be it for our little conversation. And after that, we'll just travel for the rest of the day. I mentioned I probably, just general BS with him, in between, the dragon too. Just try and make it seem like he was, sincere and concerned and not trying to dig info for research to know this thing's terrible. So.
Very well.
And then I guess maybe, let me see, so it's 4 hours on that, say 2 hours with audience at 6. Then for another hour or two, he'd hook up with Toby and practice his meditation with him a little more for, another hour or so, in between before we get to the next town, if he has time.
Right.
If Toby has time
with the 3
3
hours of work that you put into the scroll and the small conversation that you had with audience, you would be about midday. So the Sheroun would be taking a few minutes. You see them stop the caravan. They start taking down the water reserves and start filling huge bowls, huge gas, and they start distributing it among their gumpas, giving them a little bit of feed. Jihoon does come toward you, and we're just taking a few moments to give the Gumpas a little bit of time to eat and to drink. It won't be very long, but if you're thirsty, if you want a little snack, and he looks at audience when he says snacks, you can always come with us. There's going to be a few things out.
I'll head over.
So you go to them and you start sharing in the water and a bit of snack. Trevor, do you stay in the cart or do you go with audience?
I'll go with audience. Yeah.
So, well, since it's been half a day and you are being offered a little bit of food and water for free, Tobiashi and Valtteri, and because they're not there, they don't get a word in this. So they follow you. They follow you for...
Hey, free food, water, sure, whatever.
They follow you for a brief pause. And while you are taking a bit of water and eating the few pieces of dried meat, maybe a fruit, you hear sounds coming from outside of the caravan. There seems to be a large group coming toward the caravan.
I'll go check it out.
You just have to make a few steps and you watch in front of the caravan and you see a group of 5, between 5 and 9 person, all wearing the monastic scapula of the hunter god.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Oh my. Well, upon seeing that, I will go get my weapons.
They all look human or half human. One of them you're not sure. And they approach the caravan with a brisk pace. You even see a large black beast following them. Looks like a wolf, very similar to Valtteri when she's transformed. This one is a bit bigger, however. They are immediately stopped by the Sherouns as they seem to be coming in at an aggressive pace. You see the caravan master going to greet them. Hello, stranger. What are you doing following us like this? You see one of the apparently priest come forward and say, "We will be very quick. You are harboring criminals. You need to surrender them to us now." You hear the Sheroun Caravan master say, well, they haven't done anything wrong by us. I would have to say no. You see all of the priests of the hunter god take a more aggressive stand and say, with the leader of their group saying, "This is not a request. Surrender them to us."
While this conversation is going on, I'm going to turn to who is the acorn again that the elemental gave us?
Valtteri does.
The one that Valtteri does. All right, I'm going to turn to Valtteri and I'm going to be like, "We might need to use the acorn. Have it at the ready."
Right. And about that time, Trevor walks along the side of our cart there and does a quick little arcane trace and cast mage armor on himself, just getting ready here.
So you watch this goes on, and the caravan master just says, and I believe you haven't understood us. They are not criminals by us, and they're traveling with us. We will not surrender them. You immediately see half of the hunter god party fall into a position to make spells. You even see one start to trace a sigil in the air, but right as they do so, you see them all froze solid, looking at the Sheroun in front of them, and none of them keeps on going tracing their sigil. And when you look at what they're looking, you realize that about 9 of the Sherouns have adopted a similar position. All of them are preparing the initial stages of a spell. Trevor, you recognize 2 of them as arcane user. And Valtteri would recognize 3 of them as being druidic magic user. Audience, you don't have that much of a knowledge of magic. However, you do recognize another 2 of them using very religious beginnings of spells. And you see them all stop, look around one another, and you start feeling the confidence of the Sherouns all looking at them. You hear the leader of the group say, "You would lose member of your caravans. And I believe you would lose all of your group. This is what we would call a bad deal." You see them all take a step back, the hunters from the priest of the hunters. And you see the caravan master say, "Well," and he looks to the side to one of the Sherouns, says, "We are businessmen. Maybe you would like to join us for a negotiation." And he turns toward one of the Sheroun and says, "Maybe you should ask our cook to prepare something special." Right at this moment, you realize that there's a Sheroun standing between all of you. And he says, "Oh, I guess this means you shouldn't eat the mushrooms from what meal we're going to take. Just a suggestion." Talking to all of you.
Okay.
And you look at the priest of the wolf looking at you, all of you, looking at the Sherouns. You see them all drop their spell casting. The Sherouns don't drop theirs. And they all start walking toward where the the caravan master is leading them, and he starts unpacking a few things, make sort of a feast, not as big as what you had the day before, but he starts spreading things out, and you see a few of Sheroun go into on the side of one of the Gumpas, and they all take out a variety of mushrooms, and you start seeing them, pulverize them in a fine dust, sprinkle them on a few of the meal, and then they all take it back to where they are supposed to have this discussion. And the caravan master turns toward all of us and says, well, of course, since this concerns you, you are all welcome to sit at the table. You can... And he does pause a moment before saying this, and makes a small wink toward you, and you don't get the feeling that the hunters picked it up, saying, you can share whatever part of the meal you wish. Come, sit.
Audience is going to make an intelligence roll to see if he picks up on the cue.
Who was he winking at?
All
Like,
of you,
us,
you
or
were all
just-
in front of him. He gathered you all.
Okay.
My intelligence roll on that was a solid 2.
A solid 2. So
I'm not sure audience picked up on the cue.
So
Yeah.
the only thing that you would have for Q right now is the Sheroun that said just a bit earlier, you probably shouldn't eat the mushrooms. And that's it.
Okay. Alright.
However, with a
okay,
2
I
of
guess
intelligence,
mushrooms.
you are not sure that you remember well in which food were the mushroom grounded and mixed with.
Okay.
Well, I didn't really think Trevor would be bright enough to pick up on it, but I rolled anyway, and it was an unnatural 20. So yeah,
Trevor, you are pretty sure exactly what they mean. So does Valtteri with a natural 19, and Tobiyashi, I am pretty sure it was enough for him with a
Just got a +1.
with a 12.
Good enough.
So it is enough. He picked up on it. So the only one in the group not sure about which are the meals he shouldn't be eating is audience. So you all sit down and all looking at one another. And the Sheroun looks at the 4 of you first and says, well, these people have just made the claim that you are at fault for something. Maybe you would like to enlighten us.
I have no idea what they're what are they claiming that we did?
They simply called you criminals and said that you needed to be handed over to them because you have wronged them personally.
What crime are they though saying that we committed?
He looks toward the hunters, the priest of the hunter, and the leader of their group answers, you have killed mercilessly members of our cult.
Oh, the ones that were killing all their livestock in Forgem? I think that was the last town that... Was that the
was
one?
Torn.
No, it was...
No.
Torn. My bad. All right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
none of the
for-
members of our esteemed group have been involved in such violent and unethical dealings.
So are you saying that the goblins were not members of your group?
We have no goblins among our rank.
Well, then what cultists have we murdered? Because I cannot remember murdering any cultists.
You did kill members of our groups. We've found, barely a few moments after you left, the remains of our fallen brethren. You even tried to kill one in broad daylight in the city of Sutien. Your friend, and he points toward Tobiashi, almost punched one until he was dead. His blood was everywhere on him. You call that not criminal actions?
I believe that in a court of law, they would be described as self-defense. So I believe that one of your members first struck at me with a dagger before any of these other actions occurred.
We did not strike you? Were you injured? Did we actually even touch you?
I honestly can't remember if I took damage.
He's playing with words, but technically, touch, no.
No,
did I
but-
take damage?
But I think
No,
I don't know
you
if
tried
did,
and failed.
but I know Toby did, because they talk about they have his scent now, which I'm sure he told us about or whatever. Trevor will relay that. Yeah, you cut him with one of those blood-soaking daggers, and you know, he said that you had his scent, so you didn't touch him with your hands, but you sure did with your weapons.
We were attacked first. Your friend started to throw object at one of ours. We defended ourselves.
I believe the object you were speaking of was a fruit. Perhaps our friend here was simply tossing him because your friend was hungry and he simply missed the catch.
That is a most offensive way of describing this. Are you taking us for fools?
You kind of look like them, but...
As you say this, you hear the Sheroun say, "Please, please, everyone keep calm. We are here to determine how this will plays out. Please, everyone, just eat something." In front of you have different things. There is a platter of meat, which don't seem to be dried, but, you know, probably not the freshest thing you've seen, but they're very edible. You see fruits, which have been cut, very presentable. You also see a little bit of bread, and a few vegetables in front of you. Valtteri, Tobiashi, and Trevor, because you all rolled pretty well, you know exactly which one of those options were not sprinkled with mushroom dust. And so you know that you should be eating the bread or the meat that doesn't look all so fresh, but edible. Audience, you have no clue which one you shouldn't eat.
Well, I guess we'll start all digging into the proper ones, but then he knows how audiences' mind works, so he's just going to keep an eye on him while he's eating here.
Audience, take something to eat.
I know that I'm not supposed to eat the mushrooms, so I'm not going to take any of the vegetables. So I guess I'll go for what I feel like is the safest, so I'll take a piece of bread and kind of nibble on it, looking kind of worriedly around like, am I doing the right thing right now?
Alright. So...
Tell you what, Trevor will cast Mage Hand and kind of make audience a plate and push it over to him. Since he looks a little confused there. So
I guess I have enough social to play a little bit along with this. I'll be like, oh, thank you, Trevor. Just too many good options. I couldn't choose.
Yeah, I know. These seem to taste pretty good, so I figured you'd enjoy these.
So you see a few members of the wolf pack take things from the abundant food in front of them. You see one completely revel in the fruit that are presented in front of them, and all of the plates are being eaten from. You even see the leader of their group take a little bit of meat, and he sees just a little bit to the side, oh, this looks like a bit of cheese, and takes it and adds it in. And you hear one Sheroun say, oh, we didn't season that. I'm so sorry. Would you like us to season it further? Sure, looks at this and that. No. He looks a bit annoyed. Oh, okay. Very well. So, now that we've established that everyone believes that everyone has wronged one another, maybe we should try and discuss what reparation we can make for this. Maybe you would like to propose something. And he turns toward your group first. Maybe you feel there is something you could do to help things along, maybe sweeten the deal. They believe that you have actually killed people and harmed others. And as I believe they're saying that you even humiliated them publicly. I don't know, maybe there's something you believe that could be done to mend a bit of the wrong that was done?
Trevor just looks to Tao, that's already been killed twice by their cult. And say, yeah, they've killed my companion twice. They still owe me a couple of lives just on that and the annoyance.
Immediately you hear one of them, not the leader of their group, but one of them say, none of our members have ever shot one of your familiar.
I'll pull out one of my like 20 torches and I'll offer them a torch. I'll be like, this can light your way and through the dark times. And I'll hand them a torch.
Well, depending on what these mushrooms do, I got an idea for them. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what these mushrooms are going to do, but
I'll be like, for any wrong you may have felt that we have caused you, here's a torch to light your way in the dark. And I'll just hand them a torch.
And while the mage hand's still out, he'll just float it in front of one of the whoever looks to be the leader of the cult group there, and just give it the finger.
I'm trying to be diplomatic over here.
Well, that was my question. Are you trying to make fun of them, or are you honest with this offering?
I try to be honest.
Honest? Alright.
It's just being his asshole self as usual, so.
Yeah, but alright. So Trevor is being honestly assholey, and audience is being honestly paladin-y. So,
yep.
When he sees the bolt coming from Trevor, he gets annoyed, but when he sees the offering from audience, you sort of see him does this face that says, what the heck? And he looks at the others and he sort of gets that audience is sincere and is honestly not sure how to respond to this. Because he feels like he's being played on, but he's looking at someone that looks honest about what he's doing, and he did succeed a insight check on you, so it's okay. He's honest. Oh, this is disturbing.
Yeah, I guess with that, Trevor's actually also looking at audience, just like, really.
So the leader of the cult says, "This is generous, but it doesn't bring back those you have killed. But I will take it." And he does take it hesitantly from your hands.
I kind of give his hand a pat as he takes it away, like, good job.
As he does it, his hand trace a quick signal and cast light at the top of the torch there.
You see, the headmaster of the Sheroun doesn't react at all to this.
It just starts chuckling to himself at this whole
But
situation.
you do see Jehoon from the side of your, from in your peripheral vision, just do. And so you see the Caravan master just. Well, this is something. Maybe you would like to also offer something other than pure retribution. And he looks toward the priests of the wolf god. And he goes back to being serious. According to what we have been told, not all of their group have participated in those atrocious acts. We would be willing to leave her behind, and he points toward Valtteri. As far as we can tell, she hasn't damaged us in any way, and we will not hold it against her for following a misguided god of the same faith. But for the three others, they have all participated and killed members of our groups. And so for them, it is hard to ask other than retribution. So, we're making progress now. We're down from only 3 having to pay, and we were at 4 to begin with. Maybe we should just have something new to eat. As we can
see,
how
many cult members in total are there here?
Sorry?
How many cult members in total are there?
You could see 9 of them right now sitting where you are, and you see this huge black beast sitting in the background. So you don't know if it's because you know that Valtteri does change something like that. It might be a 10th member, or it might be someone that is permanently like this.
Okay.
And from what you've seen, audience, from their group, you do know that if they're all priests, they do have spells that are quite harmful, because you are familiar with the harm spell that they try to hit you with. So you know that it is a harm spell is part of their normal arsenal.
To be fair, I don't think I ever killed one. I cut off one's hand. Because the monk girl took care of the rest before I could fight them.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I only owe a hand. Other people...
Well, maybe you should say this.
I don't say that. I like my hands.
All right. So he calls for another group of Sheroun and says, maybe you should bring something a little bit sweeter. Come. And he looks at all of you, and you see them sprinkle mushrooms, dust in a lot of them. And unfortunately, only to Valtteri, who isn't there right now, when the Sheroun just looks at all the platter that have been placed in front of you, he says, well, this one is going to taste a little bit sweet. This one is going to taste a little bit salty. And this one is going to be, well, quite bitter. So depending on what you want, maybe you should choose carefully. And of course, there is this. It's a specialty of our chef. And he does bring a huge plate of mushroom mixed with fruit And the way it is arranged, it does look like sort of a cake dessert. It's, please, 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 all join in and take something. And so,
I'm gonna look at Trevor again.
all right, so
these ones have the mushroom stuff all over it, right?
yeah. So Valtteri does know something about this. So you hear her say out loud, well, I'm definitely, and she looks, even though she is still a bit mad at you, Trevor, since you are the most intelligent member of the group, she does look straight at you and says, I don't really feel like having anything bitter. Salty, maybe. Feels like what would be the most palatable.
Palatable.
Yeah, exactly. Thing
I don't know.
would be something a little sweet, although it might give you a bit of a stomach ache. And she does take something a little bit from what was said to be sweet, and she takes other things that haven't been sprinkled with mushroom. So when she said that, she was looking straight at you. Let's see if Tobiyashi picked up on this. It's not going to be an easy. So Trevor, do you feel that Trevor would need a roll to figure out what she just said?
Probably not, but I can do it just for humor's sake.
All right.
Here.
It will be a low DC.
That's a natural 16, so yeah, it's another dirty 20 there.
So you with 16, I'd say you do feel like she presented it from the worst
Well,
to
that's
the
not counting
least
my
worst.
intelligence modifier, so.
So you get the feeling that she presented it to you from the worst, the one that you really shouldn't eat at any cost, to one that you can eat, you probably will regret it, but it won't kill you.
And I guess, again, Trevor will make audience a plate and shove it over.
Do you give him anything sweet,
maybe the one,
salty?
Yeah, maybe the one that he'll regret a little bit later, but mostly the safe stuff. Just a little bit of the regret, you know.
All right. So Tobiyashi gets...
Can't let him go scot-free, you know.
Tobiyashi does have the impression that she was trying to warn about something, but he didn't roll high enough to know exactly what, so he avoids everything he doesn't know.
Just like, yeah, I'm gonna skip this pass on food.
It just looks at everything and says, "Oh, actually, I really like the bread. It's really good. I don't know what they put in it, but it's really good. I'm just gonna have this." And he keeps eating it. And so you see the hunters look at all of you a bit cautiously, and you see that maybe one or two of them know about the reputation of the Sherouns, so they're a bit hesitant. Most of them don't take the plate that have been identified as being bitter, salty, and sweet. One does take something bitter, and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna try this. I like bitter things." And the leader of the Sheroun of the priests hesitates, and the Sheroun says, "Oh, maybe we should give the example." And he cuts part of the large dessert cake filled with mushrooms and hands some to every of the single Sheroun around him. He doesn't hand anything to you, but he hands them to all the Sherouns and hands them to the hunter in front of you. "Eat, please, and we can keep on talking." So you see Sherouns eating everything that they were given, and you see everyone in front, when they see that the Sherouns are eating, sort of feel a little bit more confident, and they start eating. Say, "All right, well, we're almost close to this. We're getting somewhere, of course." So, and he turns toward your group and says, maybe there's one last thing you would like to offer? Make sure that the deal is sweetest. We don't want to take... And he makes a slight wink that no one picks up unless... other than, well, Trevor, you're looking at them. Tobiashi has a high enough passive perception to notice it.
Trevor would be trying to pay his close attention because he's gotten so far the subtle hints, so he'll be trying to...
He winks when he says, we don't want this to take too long. Meaning he wants this to drag on a few more minutes.
Okay.
Even if they seem to not want to. And audience, do you want to roll to see if he picked that up?
Oh no, I picked up nothing, but I'm also now just like, I don't trust anything because I'm just suspicious of everything that's going on because I'm just so confused. So now I'm just kind of staring sadly down at all of the food, just kind of like not eating anything, like I don't understand. So I'm just not going to eat anything and just sit here sadly.
Alright, so he looks at all of you one more time. So maybe there's something you would like to add to this? A gift maybe, or maybe you feel that their proposal is acceptable, one party member surviving. Anything?
I have more torches. I think looking at...
You hear the leader of the wolf cult say, no, one is enough.
Well, let's just have a little conversation. What's the actual name of this hunter god that you guys follow? I don't think we've gotten an official name of him yet. At least I don't think I have.
His name has been forgotten for so long. Now everyone only calls him the Hunter. It is what he is referred to and how he presents itself.
How stupid having a god that you don't even know the name of. Utter to myself.
So Trevor, you hear from audience.
And Trevor's just like, man, you ain't got any room to talk about gods. But not saying anything out loud, just thinking to himself there. And I want to try something, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll probably pass the DC, but
go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's like he'll trace a quick arcane sigil real quick, and on the leader, he'll try and cast Phantasmal Force. So they have to make an intelligence saving throw at a DC 14.
So, are you trying to make this spell as without drawing attention, or do you want to be blatantly open?
Yeah, I guess he'll. We're sitting at a table, right?
Well, what passes as a table for Sheroun's, yes.
Okay, yeah, he'll do his hand under the table or whatever to trace it real quick.
Okay, so
subtly.
What are the Phantasmal Force?
It is a VSM, but he's got the material. He's got his focus for. Yeah, it's not a. But yeah, VSM.
So you would have to make...
To say, mutter a few arcane words.
Yeah, so there is a chance that you would be seen. Since you can wave the signs and material under the table, you wouldn't have to make a sleight of hand check, but I'd say that to incorporate this into a normal conversation so that it...
So what if he did? Well, he could. Well, I don't know how much it'd help, but maybe put his hand over his mouth there, just kind of just mutter to himself. I don't know.
So what would that be?
Deception.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Okay. Only got a +2, but I'll take it if you want to do that. 15 total. It's only going to take a couple of seconds, but yeah, let's see.
So, while you're trying to cast, most of them don't notice anything, but two of them actually do. And immediately you feel that this discussion has come to a stop because you see two of them get up quickly and places themselves in a position to cast something. And you see the caravan master of the Sheroun say, "Oh, please sit down." And he looks toward you, Trevor, and says, "We really don't need spells. Everything could be done very kindly, carefully. Do you finish your spells?" On the other side, it would be an initiative between you and the two that have noticed something if you finish your spell.
I'll let it go.
All right. Oh, this is disappointing, but all right. Maybe you would like, and he turns toward the wolf god, and maybe you would like to make a last offer. And they all look at one another, and the caravan leader, not the caravan leader, but the leader of the wolf clan says, "I believe this shows the guilt of the member you're trying to harbor. We want them delivered to us very quickly." Well, I guess I see your point. Please, friends, maybe you should go to your cart and gather your things around. We will take care of your druidic friend. Maybe you could... And he winks again at Trevor with... Wow, that was... Alright, I don't think even the gods perceive this. So he really winked at you, Trevor, and you're the only one who sees this. And he says, "Take your time to say goodbye to whatever you wish to say goodbye. We will reconvene here as soon as you are ready to depart with them."
Okay. Yeah. All right, everybody, chop up. Let's go to the cart for a minute.
I kind of just look confused, and I kind of like, but I have everything here. I point to all my weapons and that stuff.
So you're just gonna sit there, Trevor walk up. Come on. Grab him by the arm and kind of barely lift it, because that's probably about as strong as he is to maybe just barely lift his arm there. And
So
just come on.
He lifts your arm, and it's just enough strength so that you feel one of your butt cheek rise from the ground. But you notice that he's at the limit of his strength.
Just come with me, trust me.
I'll just look kind of confused, but be like, okay, maybe he needs help carrying stuff. I mean, obviously he's not that strong.
Alright, and you see Valtteri go toward Tobiyashi and tell him to stand up and to trust her. And with a 19, he gets that he should trust her. So you all go to the caravan, to your cart, and you're joined by Jehun, that followed you most of the way. And just wait here for a few moments. The dessert should take effect in maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard you guys were immune to poison. Is that right?
Well, yes. Unfortunately, one of them won't survive this, but the other ones should wake up in maybe half a day.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to know. And I didn't know if they were dying or just taking a nap.
Oh, no, most of them won't remember the whole day. So they won't be coming after you, at least. They won't remember that they've seen you or that they woke up this morning. But yeah, but one of them unfortunately won't make it. Well, it happens.
Yeah. Once they're out, could I check them over real quick? I have a slight idea for a little prank if they're carrying what I think they're carrying.
Well, that's I guess I'll leave it up to
Just
you
something,
because remember that they're going to remember what they had on them when they woke up this morning. So.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not going to take anything from them. I'm not going to steal anything.
All right. Well, I'll leave it up to your better judgment.
Okay.
And he leaves, and audience, you heard that. So, does it help, or do you still want to go charging at them?
I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm confused by everything. It sounds like the situation's taken care of, so I don't need to.
All right. So you take your time preparing your stuff, and after 10 minutes, you see the caravan master coming back toward you, and so, well, I was told that you wanted to do something. This is the time. We're going to pack up and leave within the next 15 minutes.
Can you give me just a little longer? Well,
how much longer?
Well, it depends. Let me go search them real quick, and I can tell you. I'm going to go search. Well, maybe not all of them, but I'll search through all of them. Do any of them have that same ritual dagger that?
Nope.
I saw the shrews. None of them have them. Damn. Shit. All right.
I want to go check out the big beast and see if it reverted form, or if it didn't. Because I was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is an interesting choice. Yes, it reverted back to a what looks like half-elf priest of the hunter.
I'll just search them to see if they have any kind of documentation or paperwork or anything on them about, or anything that might give us any clues about them.
Well, just like that, you don't find anything that is overtly there. You do find a few scrolls that are mostly wanted poster. Apparently, you have all been tagged as being wanted by them. Apparently, you are all worth 150 gold.
Yeah. As I'm rummaging through that shit, as I find it, is all of our picture on one poster, or is it just individual pictures?
They're individuals, but all of you can find all of your mugs on the different scroll that they have.
Okay.
Are we all worth the same amount, or are we worth different amounts? Because I said Valtteri was like not as wanted.
Yeah. As I find each person's poster, I'll just toss it to them. So here's a souvenir, and just pass them around.
Well, actually, audience and Tobiashi are worth 200 gold.
Yes.
Big money.
You do find a few letters that are sealed on the leader of the group.
That's probably worth still opening, even though he'll know someone will have opened them.
Yeah, well, they wax sealed or
yes, with the emblem of the wolf god.
Yeah, that's probably worth opening still.
Yeah, I'll just take my dagger and kind of just shimmy it under the wax seal and pop it up without trying to destroy the seal anyway. Maybe we can get it to stick back, but he'll open the letters there and
all right,
see what we could find.
Yeah, I'd say it falls into the category of sleight of hand, because you have to be very dexterous to open this without damaging it.
Yeah, I don't really care if I do break it, but I will try anyway not to. So, sleight of hand. That's a 13.
13? Well, you managed to open them without breaking them too much, but you have the feeling that it's not going to stick back.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a letter inside of it, but it is not written in any language that you recognize.
How many letters does he have?
He has 3 letters.
Okay. I mean, are they
Like,
full,
you
like,
guys.
regular page size, or?
You open them all?
Sure, why not?
All right. Yes.
Uh,
They're the size of a regular page. However, there are 2 pages. And they all look the same. There are small variants, but they seem to be telling mostly the same thing. You just have no clue what it is.
All right.
We should take them. Perhaps someone at the gathering will know how to translate them.
I can take care of that here. We can leave them with them, so maybe they won't think too much happened here.
I mean, I don't really care if they do come after us. We'll just beat them again.
It might buy us some more time if they didn't think we actually stole too much from them there. And he'll take out his little inkwell and a couple of pieces of paper. Lay the page on top of it. You see him drip a couple of drops on the page, smear his hand across, and then the text just shows up on there. And I'll copy. Since they all look about the same, I'll just make a copy of one of the letters. Since
All right.
if once I read one, I can probably gather what the other 2 were going to be about. Since even though I can't read it, the text is basically the same.
Mostly, you're going to have the feeling that they said something very similar. But you will be aware that there might be some details that changes. So.
Okay, and that was, you said each letter was 2 pages?
Yeah.
All right, I think this was, 2 drops per page?
Yeah.
No, a drop of ink on its blank page. Okay, and spread the ink over the page. Okay, it was more for, like, magical scrolls and stuff, so...
No, actually, it's really used for that. It's 1 drop, if I remember correctly what I wrote. It's 1 drop for a partial page and 2 drop for a full page. If you're trying to copy spells, it's 5 drops for each spell level.
Yeah, 5 for each spell, and it was 2 per page, so 4 drops. So I'd mark off the right.
All right.
2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 drops down. So now he's got a copy of one of the letters, and he'll package it up. And they got a fire going around here anywhere?
Well, they cooked something, so if there is no fire, there will at least be embers left.
Right.
I'm gonna take my torch back. I feel like negotiations broke down.
Probably another roll involved here, but Trevor's going to stick the tip of his dagger in the embers, let it heat up a little bit, and then just try and barely rub the bottom of the wax to see if you can get them to reseal or whatever.
Oh, goodness. All right, well...
Yeah, it's going to be terrible, but he's going to try at least. But if it doesn't work, he's just going to still stuff them back in there. So.
Again, it's a very dexterity-based thing, so I'm going to go with sleight of hand.
Yeah, well, it's a natural 20. The 19 plus 1, actually.
All right. So. You do manage to just melt the seal just a little bit, and it does feel it sticks. However, there's one thing you're not sure of, because now the ink has the wax has stuck to the page. There might still be a burn mark left on the page from when you stuck and took it out, but the symbol on it hasn't deformed, and it seems to be sticking together.
Okay. Good enough for me. He'll stuff everything back in there. It's like, you guys want to keep the posters for souvenirs, or give them back to him? Okay. He'll stuff the posters in there. I just thought it was good for a laugh, to see our pictures. Yeah, they made me look even skinnier than I actually am.
All right.
So put everything back on them, and I got a copy of one of their letters.
Yeah. All right. So, you gather your things, you go back to your cart, the Sherouns finish packing everything, and you all leave and go back on your way to the town of... Oh goodness, I closed my... I closed the... I closed my notes on which the name of the cities are. So you continue to the trade city of Raton. The travel goes without further problem. You're left wondering how they reacted when they woke up. But as the day ends, you can slowly make out the shapes of the city, of the trade town. Cool, wow, that was hard to come out. The trade town of Raton. So,
Okay.
you will be arriving in a few minutes, and we're going to stop the stream just as you enter this town, and we're gonna start again next time when you make your first step in. All right, so you narrowly managed to avoid a very hard fight by following the Sherouns.
I was going to pull out a piece of paper. If I got that phantasmal force off, I was going to show that it was a pardon from. I was going to make them think it was a pardon from their hunter god or whatever. If I plant the illusion in their mind, I was going to take out one of my sheets of paper there.
Unfortunately, since they were all very cautious...
Yeah, but 9 of them being there, I'm pretty sure somebody was going to pick up on it, but I was going to try anyway.
You were almost very lucky, because when I rolled for each one of them, and the highest roll was a 9, with the exception of the last 2 that I rolled, that rolled a 17 and an 18. So you almost got away with it.
Almost. And I was hoping they had the daggers on them, because I was going to identify them, get the command word, empty out the daggers on them, and then just resheath their daggers. So they just wake up covered in blood, but no, they didn't have any.
No, they didn't have any. All right, so thank you for everyone who watched the episode. We're so sorry for the members of our group which weren't there. Unfortunately, one of them was completely unavoidable, as she is stuck in darkness at home. In her dorm. And our monk, well, the internet decided to give him a bad time. So we hope that next time we'll have a full group. If not, well, those are the inconvenience of a live stream with video conference as their way to keep in contact with everyone. So, I hope you had an interesting evening, interesting and hopefully, but otherwise just interesting. That's always fun. And we'll see you all back next Wednesday for the continuation of the travel to the garden. See ya. Bye.
Bye.